Class 3, why the different hat? Obvious. Be playful, have fun. That's what this is about. Dr. Siegel is going to actually, I'm sorry, Bernie. He likes when you call him Bernie. Bernie is going to explain how he does it with people, how he uses humor to help with their feelings and helps himself. Now, this one's just going to be just Bernie, this class. The one coming after that's with Patch. But we'll get to that later time. Enjoy Bernie, and I'm going to check back with you about a few things here. But you're going to have to wait and see. Enjoy Bernie.
When somebody's wounded, I mean, part of the healing is to be able to find the child in you and laugh again. See, animals and children understand this, okay? Meaning that you don't meet a dog who's lost a couple of legs who stays home and says, I don't want to let anybody look at me. You know, they're out there hopping around on two legs. And the kids, the same thing. They grow up with afflictions. They still see themselves as whole. And that's part of what the humor does. That you're still a complete human being, even if you've lost parts. This was a policeman who was an enormous guy, was a professional football player. And he called me and said, I'm committing suicide. And I said, Jimmy, you kill yourself, I'll never talk to you again. He showed up in the office, mad as hell. Say, for my insensitivity, how can I talk like that? He said, I'm standing there with a gun in my mouth, and you say something stupid. And I said, Jimmy, do you notice something? What? You're not dead. Then he suddenly realized, yeah, you did it. You care, you know? And yeah, and he, you know, that was the end of his suicide. And the other was a woman in total panic in the hallway, some emergency surgery. And I spent all the time I could trying to calm her down. I realized it's hopeless. So let's get in the OR. And we wheel in, and she sits up on the gurney and says, thank God all these wonderful people are going to take care of me. And I thought, if I agree with her, that's not going to help. So I leaned over, loud enough for everybody to hear. I know these people. I've worked with them for years. They are not wonderful. And there was a moment which I thought she was going to run down the hall. But then she burst into laughter. And everybody in the room became part of her family, because there's crazy Siegel again, you know, teasing, and then we're all friends.
Remember in the first series we talked about how you have to know the person when you use humor or it doesn't work? Well, Bernie's going to let you know how it doesn't work when that happens.
People say to me, how are you? You know, what do most of us say? Fine. That's bullshit. You know, I mean, we are all wounded, literally. So when people say to me, how are you? I say, I'm depressed. I've run out of my antidepressant and my doctor's away on vacation. Now, again, I saw that as a joke, see? I thought people would smile. And my wife said to me, remember, this is at Stop and Shop again. She said, honey, you're not listening. I said, what do you mean? She said, when they ask, you know, when you say that, you think it's funny. They don't. You're not listening. And I began to pay attention. Literally, 80% of the people say, I know how you feel. And I began to notice the women in line behind me opening pocketbooks. Will this help you? The kid who is the cash at the cash register said to me, I got 6 kinds in my locker. I'll get relieved. We'll go back, see if I can give you some. Add one more thing. I was in one store where they said, how are you today? I said, I'm depressed. I've run out of my antidepressant. And this guy behind the counter, turns out he knew me. He yells, you're a doctor. You can write your own prescription. I said, wow, thank you. I didn't think of that.
And that's how it works when you know the person. Now, here's a very frustrating thing that'll happen to someone, if like yourself, or maybe when you're doing something to help provide humor for people, when you know it's funny and they're just not getting it. And Bernie explains that frustration. Boy, he's got this one nailed.
We're coaches. And if they're not willing to show up to rehearse and practice and put in the time, we can't do them any good. So if you were, you know, the coach of a baseball team and one kid stays for 2 hours to practice, yeah, he's going to be a lot better at the end of the year than the other kid who goes home after 15 minutes. And I think the same is true whether it's humor, love, laughter, that we can only coach others. I want to help you laugh. You want to put in the time, you know, we can change your life and you can lighten up and feel differently about it. And if you don't want to put in the time, or how can you laugh? Life is serious. What are you talking about? It's nothing funny. Yeah. Life is difficult, not unfair.
That's it, isn't it? life is difficult. It's not unfair. I mean, isn't that something, the whole idea of unfair? Where does it say anywhere, in any place, at any time, that life is supposed to be fair? But when you think life is supposed to be fair, then you become a victim. Oh, that isn't fair. My life isn't fair. But when you say life is difficult, you can accept the challenge, take responsibility, and do something for it. That's what's so brilliant about that. I love how Bernie nailed that. Life is difficult, not unfair. And when life is difficult, sometimes you need to call out for help. And Bernie's going to show you just how he does that.
I've been in 2 serious car accidents and fall off the roof. And I announced one night when I was speaking, I must have an angel, because I couldn't figure out how I landed on my feet when the ladder broke and other things. And the guy came up and said, "You do have an angel." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, I know his name." I said, "What is it?" He said, "What did you say when the ladder broke?" I said, "Oh, shit." He said, "That's his name." And that, I wish I could thank that guy, because it's such a gift. I mean, I've been stuck in traffic. You know, you're trying to go to a lecture and you yell, "Oh, shit." And then you start laughing. And I skidded last winter on my bike, and I thought I'm going to break an arm or a leg. I'm flying through the air because I turned and it went flying. And I yelled, "Oh, shit," in the air, you know. And then I'm laughing and I hit the ground perfectly relaxed and not a bruise, you know. And that's why it's such a gift to be able to laugh in the midst of that. So I always say to people, if you ever have a problem, call on my angel.
I love the guy. What a wonderful, extraordinary human being who loves to help people, who's naturally funny and playful, clowny, has a good time. The next class coming up is with Dr. Patch Adams exclusively. As you can tell by what you've seen from Patch so far, he's a different cat. I mean, he's not anything like Robin Williams portrayed in the movie. No, he's not. Nothing like that. Patch is a very intense but very caring person that wants to bring joy to people in clowning and how it brings help. And that's what he's going to explain in this next class coming up, his unique approach. Hey, do yourself a favor. Have fun. Do things that make you lose track of time. Keep laughing for 20 seconds. Think funny. And most importantly, I'll say it once, I've said it 1,000 times, floss.